Right now, I want to welcome to the show our friend Jen Jakes from jenjakes.com. Jen, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me on air, even though I am a woman.
Well,
it's very challenging.
You're welcome, I suppose. Every now and then, and it is challenging for you. It's challenging for you to do a lot of things. I mean, in fact, CNN told me, Jen, that you as a woman, you can't even carry concealed because of the clothes that you wear.
I laughed so hard I snorted, quite frankly. I mean, first of all, what doesn't a senior law enforcement analyst, an old, wrinkled-up man, know about how I carry?
Hey, now. There's no reason to call people old and wrinkled up. I'm going to be that old, wrinkled man one day, and if you give me grief about that.
Now, that being said, before you would make a comment like Tom Fuentes made,
yes.
I'm pretty sure you would talk to someone like me.
Well, yes, I would, because I have for years. And here's the actual comment. So this is Tom Fuentes. Said, quote, a lot of these schools, Sandy Hook, he said, had an all-female faculty from principal to teachers. For a woman, where are you going to hide that gun during the day? You can't put it in your desk drawer. Somebody might steal it, and you can't get to it. You're not going to have it in a safe in the principal's office. You can't get to it. If you wear a dress, if you wear a skirt, you're going to have to wear a jacket every day with a belt and a holster the way a detective on duty would do. It's not a real practical solution for a variety of reasons. But the reason that Mr. Fuentes focused on was fashion, was clothing. So that's what we're going to be having to respond to. Now, Jen, why is Mr. Fuentes so off base here?
Oh, well, first of all, please don't tell any woman that they can't do anything because they wear a dress. Okay? Saying that a girl can't do something is, number one, like baptizing a cat. But number two, saying you can't carry a firearm for self-defense or to protect your loved ones because you're in a skirt is just ignorant. So there are many, 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 many choices out there because females, as we all know, have been the fastest growing demographic of new gun owners. So the industry has grown along with us. This has been years in the making. I'm good friends with Tammy McGill at Undertech Undercover. I love their product. They have a thigh holster that is nice and smooth. Your skirt will just flow right over it, and it's inside the thigh is where the holster is. It protects the trigger, so it's a very smart, practical, and, yes, fashionable way to wear a handgun and yet put a skirt over it. Go figure. And, of course, Can Concealment, good friends with Darlene Cahill. Mm-hmm. They have the micro hip hugger holster. They have thigh holsters. They have lots of different options for women. I mean, it's 2018. We're not talking about like the 1800s, but even if it was, pretty sure you could hide a couple things under that bustle.
And it's interesting because, you just brought up two companies, Jen. And I'm looking at 10-4clothing.com right now, which, was set up by a woman in law enforcement who, dealt with this, right? Like I need to carry, and I don't want to be printing all the time, and I want to look professional. And so Alicia, created this company that if Mr. Fuentes would go to 10-4clothing.com, he would actually see right there on the homepage two women who are, dressed professionally, and yes, they are both carrying. I mean, this is. We just got through talking with Sheriff Louderback in Jackson County, Texas about arming educators. I understand some of the concerns here, but I have to say, Jen, you're right. This is the first time I heard, these little ladies, they're just, they're not going to be able to carry a gun.
Honestly, when I read his comments, the first thing I thought was, well, was this guy going to tell women next we can't work out when we have our periods? Well, maybe we can't wear shoes when we're pregnant. It's really hard to bend down and put shoes on. How do we ride motorcycles with long hair? Our hair might get caught in the spokes. Oh, my God. It's the most asinine thing to say that of all the issues that people have with arming teachers and faculty, that skirts would be the one that this guy picks.
Yeah. How about that? Well, I have a feeling, unfortunately for Mr. Fuentes, that there were not a lot of people who were convinced by that argument. Certainly among educators who are already considering proposals like this, and, we just saw Pike County, Kentucky, unanimously approve a policy. They're going to be working with their local sheriff's department to set up a training program for volunteers in the school system who would want to take on this responsibility.
Exactly.
There are no shortage of men and women in our schools out there who will gladly volunteer to protect not only themselves, but more importantly, the students in their care.
That's right. And, he pointed out Sandy Hook specifically. But what really angered me about that comment of his is that I remember the day Sandy Hook happened, talking to my stepmom, who was a first grade teacher, and she was absolutely in tears and just screaming, saying, I would have tackled that guy. Why? I would have had a firearm. Every teacher should be able to defend those children. And she was just so passionate and so upset. My mom does not carry on a daily basis. I mean, she hunts with my dad and she can shoot. She just doesn't carry on a daily basis, or hadn't at that time. And this was the passion that I heard back then that is only growing now in 2018, 6 years later. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was an asinine comment. It was ignorant. And the sad thing is there's a big segment of CNN viewers who actually believe what this guy said.
Yeah, sadly, you're right. And this is what I keep trying to tell people because, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I've seen a lot of gun owners respond to a lot of this misinformation on social media with eye rolling and that's funny. You may have seen the clip. I think it was out of Columbus, Ohio, where the reporter talked about a semi-automatic firearm or an AR-15, and it was a shotgun. Mm-hmm. And the shotgun, blew up a watermelon while the reporter is describing this as an AR-15. Yeah. And a lot of the responses that I've seen from gunners is, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. That's so silly. These people shouldn't even be reporting. But they're laughing about this. Don't laugh about this.
Don't laugh about it. We're coming behind the 8 ball here. There are people out there who actually believe the stuff that they're putting out there. And we have to do.
Well, and not only do they believe it, anti-gun activists want them to believe this. The anti-gun media that have abdicated the responsibility as journalists and are now involved in this anti-gun crusade, they don't care about accurate information. If accurate information is going to make it harder for them to pass more gun control laws, accurate information be damned. Let's go ahead and start calling every shotgun an AR-15.
Well, we've seen it time and time again where there's an absolute false statement printed in any number of articles, and the retraction gets only a fraction of the retweets that the original information went out and was shared with all those people. Yeah. You have millions of people sharing this information, which is bad information, and yet even when they correct themselves, nobody's listening. Nobody's hearing it. So, again, we have to do a better job as gun owners, as law-abiding citizens, of informing people that we know in our communities that I am the face of the NRA. I am a law-abiding gun owner. I am a good person. Here's how I carry. Here's why I carry.
Absolutely. Jen, listen, thank you so much for coming on the program. It is so good talking with you today.
Well, thanks for having me. Great talking with you as always.
We'll do it again very, very soon. Jen Jakes, make sure you're following Jen on Twitter at Jen Jakes. There'll be 2 N's in the Jen, and then Jakes. There's a C and a Q and a U and an E, but you can find her there on Twitter.